Hey there, great to see you back on Tip Talks Cooking. Today, you're not going to believe this recipe. Today, we are talking keto bacon wrap chicken Alfredo with spinach and mushrooms. You're going to love this unusual and I think very beautiful recipe that I got off of the internet, actually off of Twitter, which often happens to me because I use Twitter a lot. Anyway, this recipe comes from a channel called Tasty, which advertises all over Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And you can see their recipes. They're very beautifully done. They're beautifully edited. They're very simple usually. And I just love these recipes. This one I did a keto version of. I used, for example, roasted thinly sliced eggplant instead of lasagna noodles inside the filling. And I added some other ingredients as well. Anyway, I hope you'll like this recipe. And of course, that while I'm thinking about it, that I can get you to like, comment, share. Please do share this. And subscribe to this channel. Anyway, let's get started with our recipe. This amazing dish has a number of components that really look difficult, but that are not, as I'll show you. First of all, what you see here is a basket weave rectangle of thickly sliced bacon. This has 17 slices here. I've got 10 going this way and 7 this way. When you do it, it may take a slightly different number of pieces of bacon. You just want to know that when you do it. I was looking more really to make a shape here. I've also got 1.5 pounds of shredded chicken breast. You could use any protein that you like. Of course, I think this would be an excellent use of Thanksgiving leftovers. So if you've got extra turkey, I'd do this with it. I've also got some shredded mozzarella cheese in the bowl right here. That's about 12 ounces. We may not need all of that. We'll see as we make our dish. Got a cup of homemade Alfredo sauce. You're going to need 2 for the whole recipe because, of course, you want to serve a little Alfredo sauce with this in the end. But here we're going to need a cup for our filling. I'll show you how to make this as well in the course of what follows. And also, instead of lasagna noodles, because remember, this is, of course, a keto recipe, we're going to use very thinly sliced roasted eggplant. You can see here, I've cut it in the shape of lasagna noodles and roasted it. 375 for 10 minutes on a side. And you can see it's very supple, it's very noodle-like, and it'll be just fine in our dish. To make the outside bacon wrapping for our dish here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by laying out 10 pieces of bacon like this, and I've got them on a sheet of saran wrap on a little cutting board just to keep it clean here. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do our basket weave to make this crust. We're going to take every other strip of bacon and we're just going to lay it back like this. And then we're going to lay yet another slice right here. Cover it up. Then here we're going to have to move these slices. Here we go. We'll start with the first, third, right? See how it goes? Really nothing to it here. There we go. Lay them back over. And I'm just going to continue doing this until I've completed this rectangle. And here's what it looks like when we're done. Pretty cool, right? It's like a little bacon placemat or something like that. Well, this is going to be the outer crust for our dish. Here's how we make the easy Alfredo sauce for this recipe. What you see here is I've got a saucepan and I've got a tablespoon each of butter and extra virgin olive oil that are warming up in there, and you can see it's getting pretty hot. I'm going to add to that, I've got a 1/2 teaspoon here of Italian seasonings. It's winter and I don't want to go to the store to get fresh herbs, so I'm going to use dried herbs. And I've also got 4 cloves of garlic that I've given a rough chop to. I'm going to toss that in there. Give it a stir. We don't want this to go too long, right? What we're going to do is now once we can smell that fragrance, and there it is, we're going to add a little bit of seasoning. A little kosher salt, about 1/4 teaspoon. A little bit of freshly ground black pepper. About a bit of a stir. And we're pretty much ready for our next ingredient, and it's the star of the show here. This is 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Let me get that in there. Incorporate on the bottom. I need a spatula to make sure we get all of that heavy cream out of there. It does tend to cling. Okay. I'm going to bring this up to a simmer slowly, and then we'll be right back. Now that we're simmering away here, we're going to add the last ingredient to our Alfredo sauce, and that's going to be a 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. There we go. Stir that in. I'm using Parmigiano Reggiano here, which is my favorite, really one of my favorite cheeses. It's kind of expensive from Italy. Anyway, for a dish like this, I think it's totally worth it. And we want that big Parmigiano flavor in there. You can see, actually, just by looking at the texture, looking at the top, that the texture is starting to change. It takes a little while, you know, this has been a couple of minutes simmering. I'm going to let that go for a few more minutes, and when it's thick enough, we'll be back. Okay, it's been another couple of minutes here, and to check to see if it's thick enough, the way that you can do that is coat a spoon or a spatula with it, run your finger down the middle, and if it makes kind of a clean break, and you can see here that's coating the spoon nicely, then we're ready, and we're ready right here. Let's make our chicken Alfredo filling here. And to do that, it's very simple. Just going to add the cup of Alfredo sauce to the chicken and give it a good stir. Make sure it gets incorporated well. This part, nothing to it. Again, there are a few steps here, like making the Alfredo sauce, doing the little basket weave, of course, roasting the eggplant, or if you want to use noodles and you're not on keto, go right ahead. If you have some other noodle substitute you prefer, try it. I think it'd be great. In fact, try it and then please send me a note in the comments and let me know how it worked out. Right, there we go. That's nicely blended. And now it's time to assemble the inside. Here you can see I'm laying out my slices of eggplant on a piece of saran wrap. That's going to help us roll this up when we get it filled. I want to make it to be about the same size as our bacon weave rectangle, actually, and I'm going to use as many of these as we can. If there are little holes, it's okay. I'm actually just going to use these to sort of patch them up, but it's not going to matter because, of course, we're going to enrobe this all in the bacon weave. And I think that's actually pretty good right there. Now, next, of course, what we want to do is keep our board clean, but also I'm going to put the chicken filling in here. Spread it out evenly over the top. Let's see how we do with this. I'm not sure I want to use all of the chicken filling I made just because of the size of this. What we want to do is we're going to make like a little roulade out of it. I might be able to use it all. Yeah, I think we can. All right. Got to kind of play it by ear sometimes. Oops. Not a problem. Saran wrap is always there to help. Anyway, so spread this out in an even layer, more or less. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we want it to be nice. And you know, I'm going to add 2 other ingredients to this that I didn't mention before. As in between takes, I was in the refrigerator and I noticed I had a couple of other things that would be really great in this. And one of them are some sauteed mushrooms that I already had prepared in the refrigerator, and I like to keep those on hand for when I make pizzas and stuff. And the other is some nice fresh spinach that I've chopped. And that's going to look just gorgeous in this center here. We're going to put that in there right there like that. Of course, you don't have to put these things in there. And you know, while you're cooking, if you go to your fridge and you find ingredients that you can use to make your dish a little better, a little more interesting, use them. Use what you got. Okay, so I just want to distribute those inside the perimeter here. Give my hands a quick rinse. And now we're gonna roll this up. So we're gonna first of all say just a little prayer, and sometimes a little tricky at first, but looks like we pretty much got it. You want to keep your saran wrap on the outside, so be careful. And you also want to make sure it's packed nice and tightly as you go along. Take your time to do this, because it will matter later on. Pull this back a little bit. We lost just a little shred of chicken. I'm sticking it back in there. There we go. And see how I'm tightening it up just a little bit there? Oh, my saran wrap's getting in the way. That's all right. No panic. We're just going to take our time and get it right. Oh, is that pretty or what? And there we go. Doing it in the saran wrap allows us to smooth it out, to change the shape a little bit, and then to control it. It's also going to make it easy for us to transfer it onto our bacon wrap, our basket weave bacon rectangle here. And let's get to that, because that's going to be pretty cool when we get done, I think. Okay, now to transfer this part onto our bacon weave, first of all I'm going to scrunch it up to make sure it fits the width. I'm going to bring the saran wrap back here, and I'm just going to roll it forward very gently. Remove the saran wrap as we go. So you've got a little edge where little chicken's coming out, little mushroom. I'm going to stick that stuff back in there. Why wouldn't I? Okay. And then very carefully get this started here. So we've got the saran wrap back here. And I'm going to be very careful here because this stuff is a little delicate. Now, isn't that going to be pretty? Okay. As we go, we're going to tighten it up a little bit. Make sure we get everything inside. That's really looking very interesting. Pull the saran wrap back. You do not want that inside. You have to unroll it. Don't ask me how I know that. No, I didn't do it wrong. I just know to anticipate that kind of problem. Again, tighten it up as much as you can as we go along. Give it another roll. And this is ready to go into my preheated 400-degree oven. And I believe this is going to take about 30 to 40 minutes. We'll see. Here it is after 30 minutes at 400 degrees, and it's just not quite browned yet. So I'm going to give it another good 10 minutes or so. I'm going to leave it in there until it's browned all the way around. Should be lovely though when it gets done. Okay, now it's finally time for this to come out of the oven. Now in my case, this actually ended up taking 75 minutes in total, and for the last 15 minutes, I ended up turning the heat up to 425 to see if we could get the bacon browned on the outside. I was having a little trouble with that. In the recipe that I found on the Tasty channel, their recipe took 25 minutes at 400 degrees in that oven. I'm not quite sure how, having done this myself now, except that I did use thickly cut bacon, and I may have a little more filling than they did. I also had some filling that flowed out and that I scraped off, and then I'll just serve alongside it or something like that when I'm not serving to guests. Anyway, let's get this onto a platter, and I think it may be time to have a taste, right? And here it is now that I've removed it to a platter. I think it's just gorgeous, actually. Check this out. We're going to get it kind of like the wide shot there. But let's zoom in a little bit. You can see the bacon is nice and crusty. And I think once we let this rest for, I'm going to say, at least a half an hour, 20 minutes, a half an hour before we slice it, I think those are going to become less flexible. And I just think it's a gorgeous dish. Now, if you're wondering how to serve this, and here you see I've got it transferred it onto a platter, basically each serving is about the width of a slice of bacon. And I'm going to start in the middle here because I also want to see what this looks like in the middle. And we're just going to slice into it here. It's cooled for about 20 minutes now. And let's just have a little view of the cross section. Oh, very nice. That's actually very, very nice, very pretty. Yeah, I like the look of that. And then here you can see on the other side of the strip of bacon, it doesn't have to be exact, I'm going to just slice in there gently. And then I'm going to remove this slice to a plate, and then it'll be time for a taste. Here I've plated up a generous serving with 2 big pieces there. This is really for a hungry person. And I'm going to give that a little Alfredo sauce on top. Doesn't that look lovely? I'm going to serve it with a simple little salad. Man, you just cannot imagine how great my kitchen smells right now. And you know what? It is really time for a taste of this thing right here. Let's do it. It'll be cut into it. I mean, it looks just fantastic. Wow. That is a really great dish, and you're going to love this. And in fact, you know, it's very high fat, low carb. I think probably on an average day, I could only eat one of these. With a little side salad like this, that'll make a really great meal. Anyway, I hope you'll try this and that you enjoy it, and you'll let me know how it goes. And we will definitely check you out next time on Tim Talks. Thanks for watching.